Hello again and welcome to our next episode on how to sell to NATO. Today we will talk about the International Competitive Bid, or the ICB. Along with a preferred supplier, the ICB accounts for over 80% of NATO's procurement. These are typically used for larger, more complex procurement, where the 28 member nations want to be more involved, for example in the ballistic missile defense. At its summits, NATO decides on a strategic direction, comes up with capability packages to match, and breaks those down into procurement projects, often into ICBs. The international competitive bidding is a sealed process, with each party submitting a confidential bid. The company offering the lowest bid that, and this is important, meets the minimum military requirement will win the contract. There is one variant known as the best value and is becoming increasingly popular. In the best value ICB, a weight is given to the various elements: price, delivery time, support, and the highest scoring bid will win the contract. The ICB process is as follows. NCIA or NSPA begins the process with an announcement, a notification of intent, or NOI. This is sent out to all 28 delegations, and in the US's case, that would come to me. Each of the delegation then invites their respective industries to participate, and we, in the United States, post this on our website. Note, read the fine print when preparing a bid. It's a costly process, and some of the notifications of intent are released prior to funding actually being committed. In order for you as a company to participate, we at the U.S. Department of Commerce need to nominate you to the bidders list. We do this through the Declaration of Eligibility. It is a very simple and straightforward process. It's very quick, and declarations of eligibility are issued by the Bureau of Industry Security. This is not a security clearance. It's just our way of officially nominating you and declaring your company as a viable American business in good standing. You will need a declaration of eligibility for every single ICB that you participate in. In our next video, I'll go over what you need to do to get a declaration of eligibility. Notifications of intent will always mention the deadline to get in the declaration of eligibility, and it will also give an indication of when the bids are due. Between the time of the declaration of eligibility and when the bids are due, they may hold an information day where all the participants are invited, often to Brussels, to learn more about the procurement, as well as to share some of their insight with NATO procurement. The sealed bids are given in by the due dates, and thereafter NCIA or NSPA will publish the winners. Now let's go into a few tips on how to be successful. First off, partner. Concentrate on what it is that you do best and then find a partner to work with. The Industry Day is an ideal opportunity to find a partner. Strive to meet, not to exceed, the minimum military requirements. There is no extra credit for going beyond or delivering early. Do not factor in overseas risk costing. You will be paid in the currency that you select. Be realistic in your cost evaluation. Deliver on time. In fact, deliver a few days early. Don't trust your courier to deliver on time. Fill out advocacy forms beforehand, and I'll discuss that more in detail in a subsequent podcast. Ask questions. If possible, have personnel on site to meet with the procurement officer in order to clarify things. Be aware that some companies will bid at a loss to get a first contract and list NATO as a client. And finally, fill in the forms very, very carefully and be detailed. Do not assume that terms such as ISO standards will be understood. Spell things out. Show that you are compliant. I hope that this was helpful, and see you next week when we talk about declarations of eligibility.